Could you talk about your childhood with regards to your family, the role of Judaism in your life, schooling, and of course the relationship you had with Anne Frank?
Well, I was brought up in a very Orthodox family, going to temple every week, and our household was very Orthodox. My father was very active in Zionist organizations. We lived very happily. I had one brother, and in 1934-35, when trouble began in Germany with the Jews, the family of Anne Frank came to Amsterdam, and I remember a little girl coming in my class, kindergarten. I remember a blue coat with a white collar, and we became friends, and actually all through elementary school we were at the same classes, and we remained friends. After school, after elementary school, we went to the same high school, and then of course we were separated when the war started.
How about your experience being sent to Westerbork, the transit camp which you were sorted at, and the choice that your father made after you'd been there for 5 months to go to Bergen-Belsen?
Well, Westerbork, like you say, was a transit camp. Most people who from Westerbork were sent either to Auschwitz, Sobibor, really to the extermination camps. Bergen-Belsen was more of in the beginning, an exchange camp where people supposedly could have been exchanged to Switzerland or Israel, at the time, not Israel, but the Middle East. My father had always worked in the diamond business, and he had a special certificate from the diamond business to go to Bergen-Belsen, but he also had a certificate from the vice consul in Jerusalem that he was welcome there, and the people with the diamond certificate were sent to Auschwitz. My father selected to go to Bergen-Belsen on the basis of his certificate from the vice consul.
Okay, how about once you got to the concentration camp, could you talk about your daily life with regards to the food you ate, your living situation, the interaction with Nazis, if there was any, and the death of your father?
Well, once we came to the camp, it was a far cry from what we had heard about it. Our reception was with a German soldier every 20 feet or so with a big dog. We had to walk about 5 kilometers to the camp. The camp was very somber, and the first thing you smelled and saw was the crematorium, where they were busy, burning bodies day and night. Our section of the camp was the Sterrenlager, that was mainly for Jews from Holland. In the beginning, well, we slept on a sled, one of those skiers, my mother and I on one, and I suppose my brother and my father slept on one. Our families were together in a camp. Food became scarcer and scarcer. We lived on imitation coffee in the morning, maybe a 2.5, 3-inch piece of bread every few days, and once or twice, I don't remember, turnips and pieces cooked in water, and that was our food. We were filled with lice. Our clothing was a disaster, so was our hair and our beds. A lot of people were sick and dying. As a matter of fact, we lived among big mountains of corpses. They were piled up like on mountains. And that's what we walked in between, and once in a while we were pulled away and thrown onto carts and thrown in mass graves or brought to the crematorium. My father died died on March 23rd, 1945, 2 weeks before we were liberated.
Okay, and then talk about what changed when the American troops arrived, and then your eventual freedom, and how did the Nazis react to that?
Well, the Nazis reacted to the closing in of the Russian and the American troops, one from the west, one from the east, by trying to get as many people out of the camp as they could. And we were put on a train for 7 days and nights, but we had no space to sit. I slept in the luggage net. We had no food, and we rode only at night because we weren't supposed to see the destruction in Germany, but there were Germans on back of the train. After 7 nights, we suddenly were brought to a halt because of the nearing of the American on one side, Russians on the other side. And then in the afternoon, we saw the American jeeps coming down the hill, and most of the Germans had fled by then, and whichever ones hadn't fled were arrested, of course, and taken into custody.
How about your family life, including meeting your husband in New Jersey, and you moved to California in 1990? How have you coped emotionally post-World War II after spending those 20 months in Nazi concentration camps, and what's the most difficult part for you?
We stayed in Holland for an additional 3-4 years. I finished my studies, worked for a year, and at the time they were afraid that of Russia, that they would, overrun the rest of Western Europe. So we applied for a visa for the United States, and that was granted. In the beginning of '51, we left for the United States. We arrived in Hoboken, settled for a while in New York City, moved to Queens, New York, and on a vacation I met my husband in a hotel in New Jersey. We got married in 1952. Emotionally, it's something that always sticks with you. It is, most of all, do I miss all my family, because I lost 35 close family members. And most of all, I miss them when there is a celebration or something, like our son's bar mitzvah. That there's nobody that you really can invite. I could invite of my family. But it's something that, you can't do anything about, and it's something that you always will live with and never forget.
And today, has the experience made you extremely proud of your Jewish heritage, and how prevalent is Judaism in your life today? I know you said that your son was bar mitzvah, so it's obviously something that you do practice. At this point, I'm not a religious Jew anymore. I'm definitely proud to be Jewish, although there's a lot that goes with that. Yeah.
But when I look at everything that Jewish people have achieved and how they have survived against all odds, I am proud, and Judaism is prevalent in my life, and I hope to continue to be an actual and an knowing Jew until the end of my life. Yes.